Move into a high-rise in any major city, and you'll find yourself looking into the ambient glow of 100 other windows. For Nikhil, this view was a nightly ritual, a quiet moment spent staring across the physical void that separated his bedroom from the rest of the world. We tend to trust the geometry of these spaces. There is a psychological comfort in safe distance, the assumption that as long as there is a street or a gap of air between buildings, we are protected by an impenetrable barrier. But after a week in the new flat, Nikhil noticed something that the distance couldn't explain. Every night, a man stood in the window of the building directly opposite his room. The figure never moved. He simply occupied the darkness, visible only as a static silhouette. Because the figure remained on the other side of the glass, Nikhil's mind classified it as a curiosity. As long as the anomaly stays in its own designated space, it remains a puzzle to be solved rather than a threat to be feared. Eventually, the curiosity outweighed the routine. Nikhil decided to ask the building guard for a simple explanation of who his neighbor might be. The guard's face shifted instantly. He told Nikhil that the building across the street had been entirely abandoned for 10 years. It wasn't just quiet, it was dead. Municipal records confirmed the story. The structure had been declared unsafe and completely sealed a decade ago. Every entrance was boarded up, and the utilities had been cut for years. This creates a physical contradiction. Nikhil was looking at a human body occupying a sealed, inaccessible void. It was a space where life, by all official accounts, could not exist. The fear here doesn't come from a sudden noise or a jump scare. It comes from the realization that the neighborhood's rules have failed. A man is standing inside a room that has been completely locked from the outside for an entire decade. Nikhil decided to use his phone to bridge the gap. He used the digital zoom to cross the street, artificially erasing the physical distance between his bedroom and the dark window opposite him. This act is a profound psychological violation. It is the moment where an unknown external threat is revealed to be an exact replica of the person watching it. The zoomed-in photo was grainy, but the details were unmistakable. The man in the window had Nikhil's face. He was wearing Nikhil's clothes. Even the hairstyle was identical. By zooming in, Nikhil effectively invited the threat into his own perception. He had removed the only buffer he had, turning a distant observation into an immediate crisis of identity. The following night, the figure in the window finally moved. It slowly raised a single hand, pointing directly across the street. The gesture wasn't aimed at Nikhil's face. The finger was pointed past him, toward the shadows at the back of his own bedroom. This diagram illustrates the dynamic shift. The figure creates a direct line of sight from the abandoned building into Nikhil's private space, forcing him to turn his back on the window. The window is no longer a barrier. His own sanctuary has been compromised. The danger isn't what the figure is doing across the street. The danger is that it has successfully manipulated Nikhil's attention, forcing him to look away from the window at the exact moment he is most vulnerable. Nikhil spun around to check the room, but it was empty. When he turned back to the window, the opposite building was dark. The figure was gone for the first time in a week. Then 3 soft knocks came from his bedroom door. Tuk, tuk, tuk. A note was slid through the gap at the bottom of the door. It said, "Tonight I am not in the opposite window." Nikhil had spent the week staring at the glass, focused entirely on the distance. He never realized that his fixation on the opposite window was providing the perfect cover for something to cross the hallway behind him. True horror occurs when the boundaries we rely on, the street, the glass, the distance, are revealed to be meaningless. The thing we thought we were safely watching from afar has already reached the door.